rise and shine like the light behind morning marijuana motivation time. I'm your host with the Moses Mark Say, and every morning I get up and I'm blessed to live my life. This is Saints Addiction. I am addicted to a better life. I had to get over my addictions. I had to get sober and I had to get right in my mind. And this morning, we're about to talk about something extremely powerful. And I want you to jump in this because it's something that I've been learning and really learning and tuning in. But yesterday, I actually got some shine from my mind. And now I get to share it with you this morning time. So if you got this message, that means you've liked, shared, subscribed already. And odds are you're probably going to give this to someone else. So this is even better that you're getting it this morning. You're getting the shine with me because we're going to get into it. Even with a little bit of shade and shadow behind me, we're going to shine this morning. Somebody cue the intro. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. The whole world's raising up and starting, and I want to get into it with you. So let's start the morning marijuana motivation. This morning is such a powerful message. I can't even right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even tell you where, well, I can tell you where it came from, but I can't even tell you how important the message I'm about to give you guys. So let's light it up and let's get into it, shall we? The sun lit my joint this morning. It's such a beautiful day. Let's get into this sunshine, shall we? As you can see that even now, the clouds cover the sun. And that's like a lot of us, right? We'll get inside of our worlds and we tend to be emotional. Yeah, let that sun shine out again. And that's what I started to realize is that I wasn't actually thinking, I was feeling, right? I wasn't actually listening, I was interpreting. And instead of putting my energy toward something positive, I was ruminating. And that's why we have to have this conversation this morning, because that's exactly the power of our mind. It could light up the world or it can be the darkest place. I call my business Saints Addiction because that's the dichotomy of us, right? We're not always perfect. We're not always saintly. Matter of fact, we're mostly devilish in our own mind. And the worst part is devilish towards the ones that we love the most, the people that are closest to us. And I said, how is this possible? How is this possible that we as people have denied each other the ability to think differently? That we have the ability to go inside of our brains and say, you know what? I'm thinking a depressed thought. What if, just what if I wanted to think something differently? What if I caught myself from ruminating? And I did this a couple times and said, you know what? I don't want to feel this anymore. I don't want to talk about my abortion anymore. I don't want to talk about my abuse anymore. I don't want to live in the past. And that's what ended up happening. I started to think to myself, what is going on with me, right? What do I need in my life to get my mind right? And this is why I said these are minds that shine. I'm trying to find a good spot, but the sun keeps moving. These are the minds that shine. Minds that shine are the ones that have the ability to go, you know what? That's an old relationship. I've been beating myself up in my head over it for far too long. Let's get on something constructive. And they say if you change your mind, you can change the world. It's so true because that's our vibration. Listening to Wayne Dyer, he's so true. I didn't want this abortion. I felt it on the beach. And instead of bringing towards me this kind of light, instead of bringing towards me the shine, I brought towards me the darkness. I manifested my own nightmare by religiously obsessing about what could go wrong. Instead of sharing this kind of light in my life, instead of being this kind of man to my woman every morning, I became her nightmare. And like we talked about the other day, cue this intro, but you can't be someone's angel if you're bringing them a nightmare. And it's so true. That's what we would do. We'll have a bad day at work and take it out on our loved ones. Something will go wrong and awkward. Next thing we know, we're not being loving towards them. The people that sleep with us, the people that we sleep with, the people that we make love to, we're the worst to. How is it possible that all these people keep showing us love, but we haven't switched our mind to show light? And that is something that's so important inside of our minds to say that one time, if you're sitting there ruminating, and you're just going on and on and on and on and on, I triple dog dare you to stop being the thought and the feeling and just start being the thought. Now, hear me out on this. There's so many of us that feel something. We'll feel a certain type of way, and then we're acting out on feelings. We're not rational at all. This isn't a strategical decision like we've been talking about all this week. Instead, we get into a system that we just jump inside of our head and ruminate over the same stuff over and over. This is the definition of insanity. This is the insanity that I'm talking about, that will sit over issues that have already gone through the past and things that we can't change, and hold them and let them hold space in our head, let them hold court like it's still a thing. And the worst part about our brains is they're so powerful. I mean, the best part about our brains is we're so powerful. The worst, we keep choosing something that's not powerful. We keep choosing to go towards the cloud instead of towards the light. We'll tend to go over what's wrong and not working in our lives. We'll go over and over in our heads. And I know it's not just me, and I know I'm not alone, that we'll go through the worst tragedies, but I triple dog dare you to go through the triumphs. I triple dog dare you to rotate your mind, literally sit there being clear enough to go, this is all part of the plan. This is a whole universal procedure. It's not just me. There are other people in this world with me. And if I want to reach them, I got to put out a new vibe. I got to get up off the couch, your thought, and go change the channel on the television station, the remote. Your mind is a remote. You can literally choose the stations that you want. You can literally choose the things you want to manifest, but we have to have some sort of mental stability to do that. This is going to be one of the hardest but easiest things to do. The hardest part is that our habits are going to continually try to show up. They're going to continually try to say, hey, think about this thing. And I'm telling you this morning, control your mind. Reach inside of it and say, stop obsessing. Stop coming from a position of I'm feeling a certain type of way, and start coming from a position that I want to think a certain type of way. I want to use my mind right now to go to a different place. Let's start talking about gratitude. Cool. Great stuff. Let's start talking about manifestation. Even better. Welcome to dreamland. And then most importantly, let's put our minds literally onto something with that energy, because you're spending the same amount of energy. We all got the same amount of time in the day. It isn't going to change. What is going to change is what you spend your mind and time on. A lot of us are just going through our emotions. Something happened, boom. That's the next thing on the track. That's the new station. But I'm telling you, you can change the radio. You can put on something else. I'm going through it, but my choice is to not wallow in it. Not to dwell. Not that I want to move forward, because I'm still wearing all black. I'm still Saints Addiction. I'm still in mourning. But my mind has to do something towards the activity, instead of just ruminating onto the old stuff and just sitting there. I make my mind get up off the tack that's making it weak, right? It's like the dog that's on the, we talked about all the time. There's a dog, it's whining. It's whining because it's on a nail, but it's too lazy to get off the porch. Guys, please get off the porch. Please raise your vibration. And this isn't something just from a feeling I'm waiting for someone to make me feel better and then I'm going to start feeling better. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a new thought pattern, to start activating those parts in your brain. Go, well, I'm sitting here watching Netflix. I could be building my business. Well, I'm just sitting here. I could get up and go for a walk. Now, none of these things would be the exact, I've got to go for a workout. No, I get to go for a workout. I get to get out of the house. I get to get off my phone, and I get to get my mind right. That's this morning's marijuana motivation, is the choice of thoughts. You are choosing literally every feeling and thought in your mind your whole entire life, and this is your first time to get a chance to choose the channel. Choose the light. That's why I said minds that light up on this. This is how we light up the world as saints. This is Saints brand. To be able to shine through the darkness, that's Saints Addiction. I didn't always have it. Even sometimes now it's hard for me to find it. But I reach outside to the world and say, I implore you to control your mind. I implore you to choose your thoughts. And this morning, above all mornings, give yourself a healthy chance. Give yourself the opportunity to not keep going to the same well and get a new fresh drink of water. That's your morning marijuana motivation. On my heart from the start, your boy Marky Saint, right on the logo. Get some. Anything that you purchase from the website is a donation. That's Saints Giving. And I'm giving up my time and energy every day of my life for the morning marijuana motivation. So someone out there can get that beacon and go, you know what, you're right, Saint. I've been putting myself up in my head and all up in my feelings for so long that it's controlled me. I could show up for work, but I won't make my mind show up for activities. I could show up for nightclubs, but I can't show up for meditation and sitting still and being still enough to go, let me see where my mind goes. Let me see where these thoughts go. And before they go crazy or take me to a place I don't want to go, I'm let to think about gratitude. Grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to have this show. I'm grateful to see the mountains. I'm grateful to always see the sunrise. Like, it's not on always being always, right? I'm grateful that my body still cooperates with my mind. This starts making me feel better. I don't feel old anymore. I don't start seeing the white hairs in my beard anymore. I don't start going to the things that don't work. I start putting my mind on the things I want to work. Did you see that? I got enough energy to play video games. That's like 2-3 hours I could be put towards my websites, like Weed On shirts and doing our 3D weed shirts. Man, I didn't even talk about that this morning. Let me show some more shine. There it is. Yes, get that sunlight out. Yes, we just launched Weed On shirts. I've been working on that website for almost 10 years, and we finally got 3D weed printed shirts because I didn't just sit there and think about my ex and the things that didn't work out. I had to make my mind work out. I had to make it do the work that it was already doing. It's always working, right? But then over here, the heart starts taking over, and then it feels sadness, depression, things that are missing, my feelings, things that are tricking my mind to doing other work than the task at hand. If my mind was like an app, a work app, it wouldn't have time for that kind of situation. I was supposed to be building tires or a house or something. But, most of us, if we're not escaping from our world, we have to go back inside of our own head. And when we live there, we're probably not talking to ourselves nicely. We're probably not thinking about the most positive things that ever happened to our lives. And what we're probably not doing is using our minds to unlock our next activity so that we can be free. That's what I'm talking about this morning. That's why it's so powerful. I'm giving you an extra 5 minutes of shine this morning, but you need to think that for 1 minute, let me control my mind's thought. And I guess you could say meditation or whatever, but I'm talking about literally going inside your mind and choosing a new thought and saying, here we go. What I choose to think about this morning is this. I wanted to think about the gratitude. I want to think about places that I want to be, right? Like, what do I want to do with this life of mine? And that's when I started to activate myself and go, close your eyes tightly. I mean, seriously, give it a shot. Think of the top 3 things you want in your life. And are you working on them? Are you shining your light towards them? Are you letting them know that you love them with all of your might? Then you probably are complaining towards them. And then you probably aren't appreciating them. And therefore, there's probably some static. So I'm giving you a little tip here, right here with the sun in my hand. Our minds are as powerful as the light. It moves as fast as the speed of sound. As soon as we think it's already moving. These are our human computers, and we have the ability to program them. Your whole life you've been programmed. Operant conditioning, positive reinforcement. You have no idea why you're probably doing what you're doing, but now, this morning, here on the Saints Addiction channel, I gave you a shot to say, hey, I'm going to start choosing my path. I'm going to start choosing my future. I'm going to start choosing my thoughts. And then you're going to get Saints Addiction. Now you get what I'm talking about. Let me show you this Weed On shirts before I let you out. But that's what I'm all about right there. Making this my work for me instead of against me. I had to flip my negatives to a positives. I had to choose better habits. And that's exactly what I did on this show. So thank you for your time, for your like, for your share, for your subscribe. It's such a blessing. And before we leave, let me give you this shirt so you can see Weed On shirts. You better like, share, subscribe because it's coming. Boy! 3D printed, 3D weedonshirts.com.